In the last section, we talked about how any population of active columns, perhaps one activated by direct perception of some visual situation, can generate secondary populations and tertiary populations by various indirect activation routes. These kind of indirect activations can be driven within and between many different cortical areas. So let's suppose that this is some pattern of activation, generated directly by sensory inputs in this case. Reducing it a bit, the population could generate a secondary population by some indirect activation processes. The secondary population could then generate a tertiary population, and so on. Now, although this process generates a wide range of different and possibly useful behavior recommendations, a problem is that it could lead to a chaotic pattern of activation. In other words, a very vaguely defined population with no predominant strengths. So, how can the evolution of these populations be managed to increase the chance of a useful endpoint? Well, the existence of speech capabilities means there's a way to focus the populations. Speech means that there are actually very strong reciprocal indirect activation strengths between auditory areas and other cortical areas. And the indirect activations in one of those two directions, from visual to auditory, tend to result in activations similar to those generated by hearing meaningful words, phrases, or sentences. So let's suppose that after several stages of indirect activation, resulting in column activity in lots of different cortical areas, acceptance of whatever happened to be the slightly larger recommendation in favor of indirect activation of auditory columns was forced. What you'll get is an activation as if some words were being heard, and those words will tend to correspond with, let's say, the most cognitively meaningful interpretation of the wider cortical population. Now, let's suppose that the existing population in the visual areas is extinguished, and acceptance of the predominant recommendation strengths in the reverse direction, from auditory back to visual, is forced. That will result in a cortical activation pattern that will quite often be more focused, in other words, more behaviorally meaningful. Further stages of indirect activation could then occur. Eventually, this type of process could lead to a population with a behaviorally valuable predominant recommendation strength. The subjective experience resulting from this type of process will be a sequence of mental images, each image evolving from the earlier image, with periods of vague and fuzzy images punctuated periodically by more sharply focused images, which could well be also experienced as hearing words. In other words, these mechanisms give rise to the subjective experiences we call the stream of consciousness. So, speech capabilities are therefore a prerequisite for very long chains of indirect activations, because without such capabilities, the derived populations will tend to become chaotic after a few steps. So it's likely that animals don't have comparable subjective experiences. They undoubtedly have indirect activations, but the chains of indirect activation that their brains can sustain without becoming chaotic are much shorter. So the key value of consciousness is to access lots of recommendation strengths that aren't available in current sensory inputs. Social situations, for example, tend to be where information derived from lots of unique past events is all relevant to future behavior. So the stream of consciousness gives a way to sort through a vast amount of potentially relevant information without losing control over meaning. So in the next section, we'll talk about self-awareness.